Hey guys, I'm Malia.
Hey y'all, I'm Ariel, and today we're going to start out our series by showing you how to do our way of doing foundation and concealer, and then we're going to show you bronzing techniques that we do, pretty basic, and then highlighting. So if you want to see how we get this look, just keep watching. I'm going to show you how to use the Beauty Blender when applying foundation. I primed my face with the MAC Visage Prep and Prime. I'm just going to take the Chanel Vita Lumiere. My color is number 7 Ivory, and just is the square bottle. Take this and start pressing it into my face like this and push it right into all those pores. And the Chanel foundation that I'm using is really sheer, so it kind of, I like more of a full coverage, but this is really good for summertime, and it gives just a really nice fresh faced glow, and I really love that about it. It's a little pricey. I don't know that I would purchase it again. I feel like the L'Oreal Lumi is better in my opinion, but this is nice. I just make sure I get it really nice and even, and I use more of the flat end versus the round end, or this. I like to use the point end for right here around my nose. There's a lot of like knockoff sponges. I wouldn't say that they're as good. I've tried 3 or 4 and they're not as good, and I don't know if that's because of what this is made, this type of sponge material that they use to make it. They all are, the other ones are really dense. Even when you get them damp, they're still really dense. So a lot of different sponges will soak up all that product and won't leave it on your face, but this is really nice because it gives you a really nice flawless look and still keeps the same amount of product. Okay, so now I just go through the hairline and take the rest that's on the sponge down my neck. And don't wear earrings when you are applying your foundation. And then you're left with a really nice base to set with powder or apply your concealer, or whichever you like to do next. So Malia will show you how to apply foundation using the stippling.
Hey guys, I am going to show you how to apply foundation using the stippling brush. I have got MAC's in 187. I'm going to use the same foundation. Now, since my hair is platinum blonde, I usually would have a headband on to keep the foundation out of my hairline. But today we are going to settle for a clip just to move it out of the way. I always like to start with the stippling in my forehead because I feel like that's the biggest surface that I cover. And with a stippling brush, I feel like the most important part of getting that airbrush look is to be super soft-handed. So one surface at a time. And then I keep a towel around me all the time to kind of wipe the excess product off, just so you don't get too much. As I get less product, just move it down under my neck so it's sure to blend. So if you notice when doing it, I like to keep my circular motions really small too, so it focuses on the spots that need it. So that is application using your stippling brush.
Okay, so I'm back and we're going to do a little bit of concealing. My concealer of choice is the MAC Pro Longwear. I love the NC20 for up under my eyes. And in my paler months like the winter and fall, I'll tend to use this on my blemishes as well because I find that it matches pretty well with my skin. But definitely NC20 up under my eyes. So I like to use my finger. I find that the warmth of my finger blends the concealer out really well. And I'll take my finger and get just a little bit of that product and start up under my eyes and just dab it underneath, blend it out, and it'll start to warm up and blend really nicely from the warmth of your finger. I don't have too dark of circles under my eyes, and if I do, I'll use a corrector. And I guess this is more of like a highlighting thing, but I use the concealer for it. But I go down the side of my nose, right here, and then up a little bit on the top of that cheekbone. So I've gone from the corner of my eye here, down to the corner of my nose, to the outer corner of my eye. So I put the concealer all right through there. I'm just blending that out, and it's so important to blend. That is like the most important thing that you want to focus on with anything you're doing with makeup. If you don't blend, you're going to be left with really harsh lines, and it's just not cute. So I'm going to take that concealer and pop it on the side of my nose right there and go up this side of my, well, on the top of my cheekbone there. All the way back. And the sides of my nose tend to get really red right through here. So I definitely want to conceal that. And I want it to be really bright, so I bring the center of that face forward. Oh, cool. In my hair. Okay. So anywhere you're putting a lighter color, it's pulling that forward. So I really want to accentuate my eyes and, you know, the center of my face. I want that to be the most prominent. I'm going to go just a little bit. I don't find I need very much of the concealer on my eyelid, but you can also use this MAC Pro Longwear as a primer for your eyelids. But make sure you, if you're doing that, you haven't put foundation on your eyelid previous. I can see the like veins on my eyelids, and it really creeps me out, and I'm like, okay, does everybody have this problem, or is it just me? I mean, it's not super, super terrible, but it still aggravates me. So I really like to conceal those. And I find it's most important the way my eyes are set to get right in these corners right here, because that's a really deep set for me. So I really like to bring that out and use that concealer almost as a highlighter to lighten that shadow and draw that deep set eye forward. Usually about a pump, a full pump, which with the Pro Longwear and most MAC products, you don't have a choice but to get a full pump. Like, you can't stop it midway and get, you know, half a pump of their product. Okay, so a full pump is usually as much as I will use for all of everything on my face. Down the sides of the nose are really important for me for getting that nice flawless base, so I can now go in and set it with a translucent powder or a really light powder if you choose. I use translucent, but also for when I want to go in and contour, so have a nice even airbrushed look. Okay, we'll come back with Malia next.
So what I'm going to do now is go through and conceal. I like to start with a corrector because I just really hate those dark circles, and I like to brighten as well as conceal. The one I'm using right now is NYX Above and Beyond Full Coverage, and it's in just yellow. So that way the yellow kind of counteracts that dark circle before I go through and conceal. And then my brush that I'm using is MAC's 159. So I just start by going in under my eyes, really just right under there where you get that dark. This has also been a pretty good go-to for highlighting sometimes if you've got warm skin. That way you still get that lighter color. And then to conceal, I also use the Pro Longwear in MAC. However, my color is just a little different. In the winter, I like really light concealer. That way I can also highlight with it. And I have in W15. So I'm using my Beauty Blender to apply my concealer. A little bit different, but kind of the same technique. I start right underneath my eye where I want the most and kind of just pat it out. And I also use this to highlight with, so just like Ariel did, once I get it underneath my eyes, I kind of go down with it. I like my foundation, I like to start in the spot that I need the most. So I start underneath my eye and kind of just work my way down to where I kind of want to brighten up and highlight. Now when using the Beauty Blender, I like to use the smaller part to get underneath and then blur it with the thicker part. And then the same thing, I like to stay inside of the end of my eyebrow and kind of work my way down to where my nose would be. So after I pretty much get it everywhere I want and it starts to dry, if I have any extra, I'll just kind of go back over just right underneath my eyes, where I really want to not only brighten but conceal. And I pretty much apply my concealer with my Beauty Blender the same way that Ariel applies her foundation. We kind of just dab it on there and blur it out. And I'll always move it around and use the different parts of it for my face just to make sure there are no hard lines. So I'm concealed and ready to go. We'll see you for our next part.